In June of 1989, Coleman Company, the guys that made camping stove and lanterns, were acquired by McAndrews and Forbes Holdings. This might not seem relevant to an airgun video, except that Coleman had owned Crosman airguns since 1971, and in June of 1989, after the acquisition, they were sold to Worldwide Sports and Recreation. Crosman went through a lot of acquisitions and sell-offs through the years. They've been around since 1924. And as of 2024, on their 100th anniversary, they were owned by Daisy. But in June of 89, the exact month and year this Crosman pistol was made can be looked at as the Coleman send-off. It might very well be the last Crosman made under Coleman's umbrella. Let's take a look. Milsurp Garage. So at Coleman's departure in 1989, this is what they left behind: the Crosman 338 Auto BB Cal. I know that sounds weird, but that is what it says. I'm just reading the gun. It's a 177 caliber CO2 powered repeater with an 18-round BB capacity, no provision to shoot pellets. And you can expect approximately 1,400 feet per second performance. Might be a bit higher if you just did a refurb, or lower, depending on the condition, depending on seals, what kind of CO2 cartridges you're using. It's obviously made as a P38 lookalike. And they obviously did a pretty good job. Got to admit. They replicated the look and the feel pretty darn good. The hammer is phony. Of course, a lot of it is all just for show. Duplicating the look isn't to duplicate the function. It's really just to duplicate the look. So stuff like the hammer is completely fake, as well as all of these P38 controls, except for the safety lever. Interestingly enough, the P38 safety lever is right here, and this was the same. Unfortunately, it's missing on my example, but still functional. I could still turn it and turn the safety on and off, but it's that lever's gone. The sights are molded into the die-cast frame, but produce a nice sight picture. Very surprising. And the trigger is good. The brake is actually better than some pistols I own. CO2 cartridge is in its typical position inside the grip, with the tightener on the bottom. And the loading port is on the top. Interestingly enough, this is the part that you see missing on these examples most of the time, is this little slider, not the safety lever. But I got my slider. So this Model 338 was released in 1987, along with the Crosman Z-77, which is also a replica, a CO2-powered 20-shot Uzi replica that had a folding stock. Pretty cool. It seems like that would be the one that's more powerful, but that Z-77 was discontinued the following year in 88, while the 338 hung around until 1991. But again, through the sale of Crosman from Coleman to Worldwide Sports and Recreation. I had heard that there was some controversy over that Z-77. It's kind of like the beginnings of them wanting to put, like orange plugs on the barrel, and people getting killed with BB guns screwing around, stuff like that. So I'd heard there was some controversy over it, which is why they dropped it. But through the years of going from Coleman to Worldwide Sports and Recreation, here we can see the difference in some of the packaging. Now, I don't know which is which here, and some of these pictures that I found online, that I'm grabbing from the internet. They're very bad resolution, so you can't read exactly which company they're from if it had said anything. But they had come boxed. I think originally. I think this one originally was boxed, but there's also the bubble packaging, which is which. Who knows? Dating these is pretty easy actually, because during this era of Crosman, I have some paperwork on it here. It's the first characters that you mess around with. First characters in the serial number were the month and the month and the year. They used a few different ways to express this information. If you take a look here, you can see they sometimes use, like a 10 for October, but sometimes they would use an O. Don't confuse that with a 0. It's for September, October, November, December, because they were 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, 12. They would use whatever. They had like a little system here. You see it in the paper here, but it's easy to decipher. If you just look at them, you'd figure it out pretty easy. But and this is readily available online. This information right here. So this one is $6.89. $6.89 for June of 89. If you're reading that. Yeah, it's printed kind of small. And it looks like the 689 was stamped at a different time during the, manufacturing process as the rest of the serial number. Can't really see it that easy on this example, but you could take a look here. I think I have a picture of a different one that I saw where you could see the date numbers look like a little bit of a different stamping. You could kind of tell they were done at a different time than the actual serial number. Disassembly of these is relatively simple. Gasket O-ring kits are available for do-it-yourself rebuilders with tutorials online. This example has not been fired for a while, and it is due for a refurbishment. But we're going to follow up at the end. We're going to do we took it to the range, and we gave it a shot just to see how well it's functioning, just out of the gate after sitting around for tons of years, and we're going to see what happens. So stick around till the end of the video. So these data sheets that you see right here for both the 338 and the Z-77 are still available online with links in these data sheets to the parts diagrams and the owner's manuals for both the 338 and the Z-77. And there's actually some interesting instruction on the gravity BB feed system. Now, I believe this should be more accurately called the gravity feed BB system, but they went with gravity BB feed system. But who am I to tell Crosman what to do or what to name their systems? But this is a instructional here. It shows it as a loading zone that's described. So this loading zone is a specific angle the pistol has to be held at to maintain the repeater function where it acts semi-automatically. This is obviously outlined because firing the pistol outside of this described angle causes no BB to discharge, which could lead a shooter to believe the pistol is empty of BBs when it is in fact not empty. And there are several warnings around this area describing this procedure here, this loading zone, cautioning safe pistol handling practices and stuff like that right around this area. So it's kind of obvious. This is where they came up with this as an instructional because it was probably a safety issue. And the best procedure to follow here and always, especially with tube magazine 22s, is to count your rounds in and count your rounds out. That is a very good procedure. Concentrate on what you're doing. Don't get into conversations with people while you're loading and shooting. Count them going in. Count them as you're firing. Always keep on top of exactly what's inside that magazine just by knowing, not necessarily having to look. rounds have a habit of hiding inside of BB guns and tube-fed 22s. So let's end the suspense here. This is a short one. Don't really have much. I just figured I'd bring you one of these air guns because you guys seem to like them. I've showed some Crosmans before. There's always seems to be some interest, but for me, these are kind of like wall hangers. You know, it's like even if I refurb them up a little bit, it's like I don't really get them out much. They're just interesting, an interesting part of my youth. What got me started in shooting to just have around. So let's take a look at this one and see how it did at the range. Yep. There you go. It's obviously going to be in need of some serious refurb. There are videos out there. Walnut and Steel, Nibs. I know you watch my videos. If you're watching and you want I know you did one of these back in the day, maybe like a year ago, but I don't think you did the rebuild actually on camera. I think you just kind of showed it apart. And I don't know. If you want to do a step-by-step refurb on one of these, I got one here. Or if you happen to have an extra safety lever laying around, could come in handy. So, right, faithful viewers, you are definitely faithful Milsurp Garage viewers if you are still hanging around here with me at this point. And I thank you. Channel viewership has been suffering. And I only have myself and YouTube to blame. You are the only heroes here, so God bless you. Stay well, keep shooting, and see you all next time.